all think of oil and gas companies as energy companies. But what if I told you that their biggest product is water? Or wastewater, to be more precise. This is because the production of 1 barrel of oil requires over 10 barrels of water. And given that these companies produce 1 million barrels of oil in a single day, you can just imagine the scale of the wastewater challenge. Since this water is too contaminated to reuse, it's disposed by injecting in deep wells underground. Last year, scientists conclusively showed that deep well injection was causing seismic activity in regions with no earthquake history, like Oklahoma, for example. So all of you may be wondering, instead of disposing this wastewater, can we purify it to meet the growing demand for clean water? The answer is yes, and this is the focus of my research, where I'm developing a desalination technology to separate salts and contaminants from the water. There's thermal desalination, where you use huge amounts of heat to evaporate water, leaving the salts behind. And then there's membrane desalination, where you use large amounts of electricity to force water across a selective membrane that blocks the salt out. This is the crux of the problem. Desalination is very energy intensive, especially when we have to do it on such a large scale. To address this, in my research, I'm developing a hybrid membrane and thermal desalination system that's powered by solar energy. Typically, when we think of solar, we think of PV panels that convert sunlight into electricity. In my research instead, I'm converting sunlight into infrared heat. Our secret sauce is a temperature-responsive material that performs 2 very critical functions. It draws water across the membrane, separating it from the salts, and then itself separates from the water by absorbing this infrared heat. This process requires virtually no electricity, and the thermal energy consumed is 1,000 times lower than evaporating water. I'm very excited to share with all of you that we have successfully demonstrated this in the lab, and we will be working with our industrial partners here in California to field test the technology. Thus, by converting this waste into a resource, we can close the water loop, recycle water for agriculture and potable reuse just by harnessing the power of our sun. Thank you.